best, you got him four abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back tonight to the Dre Broadcasting Network as we go back side by side with the PRL. Tonight is the Eddie Flora Memorial 130. That is the Eddie Flora Memorial 130, round number 6 of the Precision Racing League American iRacing Sunday Series, brought to you by the PrecisionRacingLeague.com. Your commentator, Sean Zulu. And up in the Dre Broadcasting booth is David Everly, as usual. Get a call up there, Dave. How are you doing tonight?
Good. How you doing, Sean?
Doing good, too. Thank you. Well, after having a heck of a race last week, unfortunately, I wasn't able to make last week's race at Bristol. But in that race, that was the Disabled Sim Wheels 175. Disabled Sim Wheels 175. James O'Brien brought it home for his second win of the season. Joni Pierce came out second. Craig Hawkins came out third. Paul D. Johnson came out 4th. John LaBeouf came out 5th. Kyle Souza 6th. David Drachman 7th. Eddie Hawks 8th. Dale Robertson 9th. And Brandon Walter rounded up the top 10 in that race. And moving on to our current point standings, ladies and gentlemen, James O'Brien leading in points. We have Craig Hawkins 2nd. Dale Robertson 3rd. Kyle Souza 4th, Poe D. Johnson and Dustin Hall tied for 5th place in points, Joni Pierce 6th, John LaBeouf 7th, Eddie Hawks 8th, Stephen Harry 9th, and Brandon Walter rounding up the top 10 in points. And these drivers' teams, they all belong to some kind of team. So James O'Brien, Road Trip Racing, Craig Hawkins, Blown Gasket Racing, Dale Robertson, Simtech Racing, Kyle Souza, Overclock Motorsports, Poe D. Johnson, Road Trip Racing, Dustin Hall, Simtech Racing, Johnny Pierce, Simtech Racing, John LaBeouf, No Fear Racing, Eddie Hawks, Simtech Racing. We have Stephen Harry, Overclock Motorsports, Brandon Walter, Road Trip Racing, and that once again rounds up the top 10 in the point standings. And going back to the teams of the drivers who finished top 10 last week at Bristol: James O'Brien, Road Trip Racing; Johnny Pierce, Simtech Racing; Craig Hawkins, Blown Gasket Racing; Paul D. Johnson, Road Trip Racing; John LaBeouf, No Fear Racing; Kyle Souza, Overclock Motorsports; David Dreckman, not on a team just yet; Eddie Hawks, Simtech Racing; Dale Robertson, Simtech Racing; Brandon Walter, Road Trip Racing. And those were all the teams in the top 10 last week. So let's see. We had 3 drivers representing Simtech Racing finishing the top 10, namely Johnny Pierce, Eddie Hawks, and Dale Robertson, with Dustin Hall, the 4th teammate, coming out in 11th place, just 1 spot below the top 10. And also 2 drivers from Road Trip Racing finished in the top 10, namely Brandon Walter, including James O'Brien. Well, looking there, going back to tonight's race here tonight, the Eddie Flora Memorial 130 here tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway. What are we dealing with tonight, Dave? Oh, looks like Dave might be available there. But here tonight we have a 77-degree Fahrenheit track temperature, 76-degree Fahrenheit air temperature, and it is overcast. It is nighttime tonight. Yep, under the lights, ladies and gentlemen, with winds from the northwest at 13 to 14 miles per hour. And these drivers going for 130 laps. That is 130 laps. And this track is 1.5 miles in length. It's going to be an amazing race here tonight. These drivers running all the way from about 29-second lap times to 30-31 seconds, just depending on the tire wear as the race goes on. And here currently in qualifying, the driver who has the fastest lap time, actually we haven't seen the these are the fastest times we've seen in qualifying, not even faster than practice times. Dustin Hall breaking the 28-second barrier. So he is on the pole with a 28.902, with Johnny Pierce 28.907. So let's see, so far 4 drivers in the 28-second range in qualifying. We have once again Dustin Hall, Johnny Pierce, James O'Brien, and Brandon Massey. So here before too long, the gridding should begin. But looking there in the chat, ladies and gentlemen, type it up, get active, say something. I see Abbas Ladak in the chat. Welcome back, Abbas. Hope you're doing well tonight. It is great to see you again. And also Jerome Berthome in the chat. Welcome, Jerome. Jerome is the owner here of the PRL. He is the eye in the sky out there. Hope you're doing well, Jerome. Well, once again, ladies and gentlemen, our post sitter here tonight is the 37 of Dustin Hall, the 16 of Johnny Pierce, starting right beside him in 2nd place, the 9 of James O'Brien 3rd, 11 Brandon Massey starting 4th, we have Dale Robertson 5th, Cotton Lane 6th, Stephen Mattock 7th, Craig Hawkins 8th, Brandon Walter 9th, and Zachary York, rounding up the 10th place spot, or the top 10 here so far in the on the grid. Eddie Hawks 11th, Ken Caruthers 12th, 94 of Stephen Harry 13th, the 00 of Kyle Souza 14th, the 61 of Josh Mayu 15th, the 22 of Matthew Cisna 16th, David Dreckman 17th, Daniel Wilborn 18th, Rory Collins 19th, and a new driver here tonight, the 51 of Jordan Haynes, starting in the 26th place spot. That is if he's racing, I'm not quite sure at the moment. We have Steven Aguiar, John LaBeouf, Chris Perez. We have, including Trevor White, these drivers rounding up the rest of the field, giving us roughly about 23 drivers. We're going to find that out exactly once the green flag flies for lap number 1. But so far we are still right behind this pace car, being led by the post sitter, the 37 of Dustin Hall. Oh, absolutely, Jerome. Yep, very close lap times between second and third place drivers. Like I said early on there, ladies and gentlemen, the pole-sitter having a 28.902 second qualifying time compared to Johnny Pierce, second place, 28.907. That is a difference of 5 thousandths of a second right there. Very, very close. And it's going to be interesting to see exactly how these drivers handle this. And one of the aliens this season, the 10 of Daniel Wilborn, is racing tonight, but starting in the 18th place position behind the 22 of Matthew Cisna. So many heavy hitters here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Get your popcorn ready, get your drinks ready, and get your seatbelts ready. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Enjoy the show. And that pace car dips off, and Dustin Hall still holding pace speed. The green flag is out, and Dustin Hall finds the gas pedal on the outside line. Johnny Pierce gets a better start than the 37 of Dustin Hall did, and the 9 of James O'Brien, the Napa Auto Parts Machine the Chevy Camaro, are right behind 37 of Dustin Hall, and we are now green. Lap 1, the Eddie Flora Memorial 130 round number 6 of the PRL American iRacing Sunday Series. And already a battle for second place between the 9 of James O'Brien and 16 of Johnny Pierce with the help of 11 of Brandon Massey. The pony machine is just watching this battle from the shotgun view, but the 9 of James O'Brien inside line, Johnny Pierce outside line, slingshot engaged. Yes, it is. Oh, but Johnny's trying to do the crossover move, but not enough to make it stick just yet. Entering turn 3, James O'Brien is able to stay ahead of Johnny Pierce for now, as James O'Brien is now trying to pull in the 37 of Dustin Hall for the race lead. And a new viewer tuning into the chat, that is Patrick York, and we are now under caution. Gonna see what happened.
Preston, 5 of it. Happen here. 5 of it. Actually up front. Maddox. Back tick. Maddox battling with Ken Cruz. Back in the high oval. Maddox around and
Oh man, he has a very, very rough start for most of the drivers out there. Very unfortunate for every single driver involved. Ladies and gentlemen, the drivers do not have any backup cars, no quick fixes, no fast repairs. So if they have bad enough damage to end their race, it will, without a doubt, end their race. And 19 of Zachary York was able to make it past that wreck somehow. That was a miracle. But a great job by Zachary York staying out of trouble. But here, as we go back up front, we have Dustin Hall leading everybody down pit road. And seems like so far a lot of drivers, most drivers following. Yep, every driver on pit road except for Cotton Lane, Kyle Souza, Rory Collins, Matthew Cisna, Chris Perez, and Daniel Wilborn. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, only 3 laps of green flag racing on these drivers' tires. So it's not too bad when it comes down to it. So it shouldn't be too bad for the drivers who stayed out in this case. And going back to Patrick York. Hope you're doing well tonight, Patrick. I didn't get a chance to say hello. And last season's champion, ladies and gentlemen, Markel Murphy, unfortunately hasn't put down. He's not racing. He's not going to be racing this season. So it's a free lunch program for his throne, his title. So everybody out there knows that, and are trying to take advantage of that. And also last season we had a team champion. I mean a team that won the team championships, and that was the Ford Lane Motorsports that featured Jeffrey Ford, Stephen Mattox, Zachary York, and Colton Lane. I repeat, Jeffrey Ford, Stephen Mattox, Zachary York, and Colton Lane with the Ford Lane Motorsports from last season won the team championship standings and are trying to go at it again for this season. And this season they do have a new team name, and that's Ford Entertainment Group Motorsports, and that's Ford Entertainment Group Motorsports. And speaking of the current leaders in the team championship standings, we have the Simtech Racing team leading in the points. Road Trip Racing is second place. Overclock Motorsports third place. Aeronix Sim Racing fourth. Northia Racing fifth. We have Ford Entertainment Group Motorsports 6th, and Blown Gasket Racing 7th. So that's Simtech Racing, Road Trip Racing. We have Overclock Motorsports, Aeronix Sim Racing, Northia Racing, Ford Entertainment Group Motorsports, and Blown Gasket Racing. That's 7 teams in the point standings going at it. We're going to see exactly who has it, which team has it by the end of the season. And ladies and gentlemen, it's always a team effort. The best team out there, or the best working team, will always be the most successful. Well, up front, we are now back 1 to green. Yes, we are being led by the 6-0 of Colton Lane with the help of the 9 of James O'Brien on the inside line. On the outside line is one of the heaviest movers, one of the heaviest contenders, one of the aliens here with the PRL, the 10 of Daniel Wilborn with the help of 11 of Brandon Massey. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, as a result of the caution, we have 2 drivers being shown 2 laps down, namely Craig Hawkins and Stephen Mattox. Stephen Mattox is still on pit road as we speak. The machine is silent, it's not running, and the driver is out of the machine. So he might just be done for the night. But Craig Hawkins, despite his heavy damage, is still out on the track, trying to make the best out of the machine, despite his bad luck. But up front, here we are now going green, second time this time around. The pace car dips off, and 60 of Colton Lane finds the gas, but a little bit of wheel spin by 60 of Colton Lane. No harm done. We are still green. Flag Racing, and great restart against his opponents. Here, 10 of Daniel Wilborn, James O'Brien, 11 of Brandon Massey. And we have Joni Pierce being challenged by the 19 of Zachary York. Zach York has come a long way tonight with a Navy machine, and that is a Toyota, I believe. Yeah, Toyota Camry. America's Navy, a global force for good. It's a very well dressed machine out there as it challenges the 16 of Joni Pierce, still side by side for 5th place. And that puts Zach York in the 5th place spot. New to the top 5, he came all the way from the 10th place spot to 5th place this time around. Slingshot off turn 2 against Joni Pierce, but still not enough to clear him before turn 3. And they still stay side by side, but the 3 of Dale Robertson right now is getting very impatient in the Coca-Cola Chevy Camaro. Just watching this battle, trying to figure out the best way to get around the 2 drivers, but so far just riding in line and trying to keep 77 of Ken Caruthers behind him. And up front for 2nd place, side by side going on here, James O'Brien, 10 of Wilborn. They were side by side, but back down to single file. Well, between Daniel Wilborn and James O'Brien, but now Wilborn side by side with the race leader up front, 60 of Colton Lane at the exact same time, side by side for 3rd place between Brandon Massey and James O'Brien. James O'Brien to the inside of Massey, single file between Wilborn and Cotton Lane, and now Wilborn on the outside has the 11 of Brandon Massey, and so far Massey trying to make the outside line work. Ladies and gentlemen, the first 5 laps of every single run is when these drivers can push these machines, or when the drivers can push these machines, but after that they'll have to start actually, you know, doing the acceleration control or throttle control, because that's when the tires end up starting to go away a little bit. So with that said, the first 5 laps of every single run is when the drivers have the maximum grip of that run. And so far here, 11 of Massey on the outside, at least trying to get to the outside of 60 of Cotton Lane, but so far no luck. Actually scratched out to the inside, side by side. Yep, and Cotton Lane takes over the race lead away against the 60 of Cotton Lane, who's going to cross him over, try to, but not enough, and has no choice but to just back it down and ride for now as Cotton tries to go to the inside, but so far Massey making nice, stick nice and strong in the middle lane on power move on the exit of turn 4, slingshot engaged, and yes, Brandon Massey now officially the race leader, the new leader on lap 14. And further back in this pack, 94 of Stephen Harry trying to make the outside line work as we speak, is currently in the 9th place spot behind the 77 of Ken Caruthers, who is in the 8th place spot. At the exact same time, Harry is trying to keep behind the 21 of Trevor White. Looking at Stephen Harry is in it for the long run, ladies and gentlemen. So he's just trying to ride the middle to high lane and avoiding the inside the most that he possibly can. As we see right now, he stays on the outside line between turns 1 and 2. And just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, the drivers here, they have an open setup. This is an open setup series, so they have an opportunity to tune these machines to their liking, to their liking or preference. So with that said, some drivers are set up for the long run, some are set up for the short run. Some drivers are loose, some are tight, and some are balanced, and they do sacrifice speed to get a balanced setup. But we see a lot of different machines handling differently, just based on the setup. And here, as we speak, we have the 21 of Trevor White charging on the rear end of 94 of Stephen Harry. And some more battling here further back in this pack. We have 61 of Josh Mayu, who was side by side with John LaBeouf, but LaBeouf gets around him successfully and bumps Josh Mayu down to 13th and himself up to the 12th place spot. And now they're being shown about 6/10ths of a second behind the 37 of Dustin Hall for the 11th place spot. But up front, we have a battle for the race lead between the 60 of Cotton Lane and the 11 of Brandon Massey. Side by side they go. But Massey is able to take back the race lead on lap number 18. But still side by side, entering turn 1. Off turn 2, slingshot engaged by 11 of Massey and able to clear the 60 of Cotton Lane successfully, as 11 of Massey is sticking to the outside line trying to save those tires, while 60 of Lane so far is very, very determined to get around him for that race lead still. And as James O'Brien gets ever closer and is bringing the 10 of Wilborn with him. And ladies and gentlemen, next week the PRL will be having their All-Star race right here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, 200 laps. So these drivers are having double the practice here for tonight and for next week's race right here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And James O'Brien here is getting very impatient, trying to get around the two drivers, battling it out. Oh, they make contact. Oh, he almost makes contact with the 10 of Wilborn. No harm done. That almost spun out or spun James O'Brien rightward into the wall. But great job by the drivers being able to keep those machines running as 10 of Wilborn gets around James O'Brien successfully. And now his next victim, the 60 of Lane. Wilborn to the inside of Caution Lane, gets around him successfully, and that bumps Caution Lane down to the 3rd place spot. Wilborn to 10th place, and now his next victim being the leader up front, Brandon Massey. As we go for the back in the pack, 99 of Brandon Walter. Brandon Walter is currently in the 10th place spot in points, trying to challenge the 45 of Eddie Hawks for the 15th place spot. These drivers being shown about 6 seconds behind the leaders, and they keep losing time with every single lap. And we see 99 of Walter now to the inside of 45 of Eddie Hawks side by side, but Hawks lets him by without a fight. And Eddie Hawks still has damage from the first incident. He has damage in the rear end, the front end, and yep, that machine is struggling both in the rotation and the top end.
Yeah, but half track, so effective. Right back here. Have any backup?
Oh, indeed, and right now he has a different beast in his rear view mirror on his back bumper, 33 of David Dreckman. David Dreckman making his presence known in the rear view of Hawks, and goes to his inside. Yes, he does. It's a Ford Mustang versus a Camaro, as David Dreckman is getting around, or gets around 45 of Eddie Hawks at the exact same time, leaves the gap open for the 8 of Aguilar to benefit. And at this point, the field is very, very spread out, ladies and gentlemen. But going back up front, the top 6 drivers, Brandon Massey, Daniel Wilborn, James O'Brien, Colton Lane, Johnny Pierce, and Dale Robertson are less than a second of within each other's range or draft. Oh, caution flies on lap 24. We're going to see what happened.
Well, that's... Give Colton Lane in the 10. Happen here. And my get a little. That also upped it. Yeah, he just got a little busted. So tapped grass and.
Oh man, indeed, very unfortunate for every single driver involved in that. It collected a lot of drivers there up front. So Caution Lane, heavy damage. Johnny Pierce got a piece of the action as well, including Daniel Wilborn. Hopefully these guys can still stay in it to win it, because the race is still very, very young. Here only 26 laps in with 105 laps remaining. But going back up front, Brandon Massey is the leader and leading everybody as we speak, and most likely going to be going down pit road, because these drivers last pitted in 22 laps ago. And yep, Massey leads everybody down pit road, and everybody follows. And first driver lap done, 41 of Chris Perez is on pit road as we speak, but we will not be getting the wave around the Lucky Dog due to him being on pit road. So that's going to pass it over to Craig Hawkins. No, scratch that. Craig Hawkins has retired early for the evening, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen. We look forward to seeing this driver back again for the next race. And Steven Mattox still on pit road, getting some of that damage fixed. But something tells me he just might be done for the evening as well. Well, up front here we have Brandon Massey, who's beaten off pit road by 3 drivers. Yes, 3 drivers. James O'Brien, Dustin Hall, and including the 19 of Zach York. Looking at the drivers' pit times, we had James O'Brien have a 14.4 second pit stop compared to Brandon Massey, who had 14.7 seconds, just a 3/10 of a second difference there. And it lets you know, ladies and gentlemen, just how much it takes, or how much time it takes to either lose a spot or gain a spot on or off pit road. And Dale Robertson going down pit road one more time as we speak. And under this caution, the driver having the fastest pit time was the 99 of Brandon Walter with 13.6 seconds. And the updated top 10 here this far, 28 laps in. James O'Brien in the lead. Zachary York second. Dustin Hall third. Brandon Massey fourth. Ken Caruthers fifth. Stephen Harry sixth. 21 of Trevor White seventh. John LaBeouf eighth. Josh Mayu 9th, and Matthew Cessna in the 10th place spot. And so many heavy movers new to the top 10 this time around, ladies and gentlemen. Ken Caruthers being one of those drivers from 12th to 5th. We have Stephen Harry from 13th to 6th. We have also Trevor White. It's come a very long way with John LaBeouf. So Trevor White from 24th to 7th. We have John LaBeouf from 21st. That's John LaBeouf 21st to 8th. Josh Mayu 15th to 9th. And Matthew Cessna from 16th to 10th. Well, that's only a few drivers new to the top 10, and a lot more drivers coming from the bottom 20. We have here Stephen Aguiar from 20th to 12th this far. David Dreckman 17th to 13th. Rory Collins 19th to 14th. And so far seems to be it. But we are now going 1 to green this time around. Yep, we are now back 1 to green, being led by James O'Brien with the help of Dustin Hall on the inside line. On the outside line, Zachary York with the help of 11 of Brandon Massey, the pony machine, the prettiest, the most fabulous machine, or prettiest machine out there. And unfortunately, we've lost one more driver, the 6 of Stephen Mattox. We look forward to seeing he and Craig Hawkins back again next race. Exiting turn 4, pace car dips off, and James O'Brien holding pace speed. He finds the gas, but the green flag is out, and great restart by the 9 of James O'Brien. And now 19 of York trying to go to the inside to defend his spot, but so far having no luck. He'll be side by side with 37 Dustin Hall. Dustin Hall had made a mistake entering turn number 1. His machine got squirrely while shifting into third gear. That was very weird, but he is still rolling in the third place spot behind the 19 of York and ahead of 11 of Massey. Oh, Dustin Hall to the outside, power move off turn 4. Yes, side by side with Zach York. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, the first 5 laps of every single run on this new set of tires is the most they'll have, or the maximum grip they'll have in that run. With that said, we'll be seeing the most racing going on with the first 5 laps of every single run. As we can see right now, so much side by side going on. Dustin Hall now in 2nd place. Zach York in the 4th place spot as we speak. Ken Caruthers all over his rear end as well. We have Stephen Harry, John LaBeouf, 22 of Matthew Cessna, Trevor White. These drivers so far just riding single file, trying to keep their eyes on the leaders and stay close enough at the same time. And surprisingly, everybody has now gone single file in the top 10, top 20. But Ken Caruthers to the inside of 19 of Zach York, side by side as we speak. Ken Caruthers to the inside, York on the outside. And York was able to lead a slight nose and maintain the 4th place spot against Caruthers. But Caruthers drives in way harder, entering turn number 1 and off turn 2. He cleared him successfully and bumps the 19 of York down to 5th place. Another battle brewing as we speak. That is Stephen Harry and the 911 of John LaBeouf for the 6th place position. And as we speak, 911 of John LaBeouf does have some right front damage, actually the right side of the hood. But he's still doing damage despite that. He's trying to go to the inside of Harry. But Harry is still holding his own. He's getting those excellent exits out of the exits of these turns, getting good enough runs to maintain this spot. And some more side-by-side. 8 of Aguiar and 99 of Brandon Walter were going at it. But Walter is now bumped down to the 12th place spot, and Aguiar up to this 11th place spot. And status check on 99 of Brandon Walter. Brandon Walter has a lot of heavy front-end damage on the machine, but despite that, it's still doing quite well. As we see, it's now side-by-side with the 10 of Wilborn to his inside. And these are the drivers who got a piece of the action during the last caution. 16 of Joni Pierce behind the 10 of Daniel Wilborn. 16 of Pierce having way more damage than Daniel Wilborn. But the 16 machine is still doing quite well, regardless. And 21 of Trevor White to the inside of 61 of Josh Mayu. But looks like Mayu gets a good enough run off the exit of turn 4 against Trevor White. But Trevor White under fire from the 10 of Daniel Wilborn, side by side. And Wilborn is assisting the 16 of Joni Pierce, but looks like no, Wilborn goes up high. Pierce to the inside of 21 of Trevor White, and now they stay side by side. Entering turn 3 as one driver goes way wide. 22 of Matthew Cisna trying to make some moves at the same time as trying to save those tires for the long run. And Cisna to the outside line. We have 61 of Mayu to the inside line. And Mayu's machine is pushing up tight. And as a result, he has to let off the gas some 3 right off turn number 4. Turn number 2, yes, side by side. Johnny Pierce. I've seen 22 of Matthew Cisna. We have Josh Mayu and 10 of Wilborn. But both Wilborn and 22 of Cisna did end up backing it down. They are now side by side. As we see right now, the 61 of Josh Mayu is pulling away. Having spoken much of the 00 of Kyle Souza here tonight, if anybody is currently running the 16th place spot with some heavy damage. Most of these drivers tonight having a rough start to tonight's race, but are still in it to win it. And Souza be ahead of the 33 of David Dreckman and behind the 45 of Eddie Hawks. And this far, ladies and gentlemen, we only have 18 drivers on the lead lap. That's 18 drivers on the lead lap, with about 6 drivers 1 or more laps down. We have Cotton Lane and Dale Robertson both 1 lap down, so these 2 drivers racing hard for the lucky dog, as Cotton Lane is ahead of Dale Robertson as we speak. Well, going back up front, ladies and gentlemen, still James O'Brien in the lead, but not too far ahead of 37 of Dustin Hall. Dustin Hall is doing quite well, keeping James O'Brien in his sights. The Road Trip Racing driver versus the Simtech Racing driver, that is James O'Brien. And Dustin Hall and James O'Brien changing up his race groove, going all the way from middle lane to high lane and avoiding the bottom lane at all costs, trying to save time. Is trying to set himself up for this long run, and these drivers now having 16 laps since their last pit stop. And we have a cluster here for the back in the pack. We have 10 of Wilborn, 9-11 John LaBeouf side by side as we speak. That is for the 7th place spot. And James O'Brien, John LaBeouf. I keep mixing up these names, but John LaBeouf on the outside still, left it high and dry. Despite his damage, the machine is doing very well. And now Johnny Pierce to the inside of John LaBeouf, side by side. We have Johnny Pierce getting around both 911 of John LaBeouf and now 94 of Stephen Harry. John LaBeouf goes back down low to get in that faster groove, it seems like, behind the 16 of Johnny Pierce, who then goes back up to the middle lane to the high lane to get the perfect exit off turn number 2, as Wilborn now battling side by side with a 19 of Zach York. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with 46 laps in and 85 laps left, we're going to take our first commercial break of the evening. We'll be right back, so please stay tuned.
Don't let your first date be your last. Visit People Against Distracted Driving at PADD.org.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Eddie Flora Memorial 130. That's the Eddie Flora Memorial 130, round number 6 of the Precision Racing League American iRacing Sunday Series. Ladies and gentlemen, check out the Precision Racing League at their website, precisionracingleague.com, to be a part of the action. Well, here this season, this is the first season they're having a chase series. With that said, we have 8 races in the regular race season, followed by 4 races in the chase series, and this being round number 6. Next week is an all-star race. After that, we have round 7 at Iowa, and then round number 8, the final race before the chase begins, will be held at Kentucky. Oh, no, scratch that. That's going to be held at Texas Motor Speedway for round number 8 before the chase begins. That is Precision Racing League. PrecisionRacingLeague.com. And ladies and gentlemen, I talked about it there early on, how the 48 of Markel Murphy, last season's champion, is not here to defend his title this season. So with that said, it's a free lunch program, and we have a new trophy. See right below you on the top bottom right of your screen. That's bottom right of the screen. You have a trophy right there. That's the trophy made by one of the drivers, 911 of John LaBeouf, to show appreciation for the PRL. He made that trophy for the new upcoming champion at the end of this season. So check them out, precisionracingleague.com. Well, going back to the race here, we are under caution. We had contact between Dale Robertson and the 35 of Rory Collins, which did cause a chain reaction and bring out the caution. But we are now back 1 to green, being led by James O'Brien with the help of 11 of Brandon Massey. On the outside line, Dustin Ho with the help of 16 of Johnny Pierce. Ladies and gentlemen, a special treat coming to you live from the Dre Broadcasting Network. That's a special treat. Turn up the sound, turn up the volume, crank it up, Cam. Enjoy. And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, was the Crank It Up Cam, courtesy of the Dre Broadcasting Network. Hope you guys enjoy listening to these V8 machines roar and sing as one. But here we have James O'Brien still in the race lead, but Dustin Hall is hot on his trail. He keeps getting up to his rear view, or his back bumper, and then ends up losing time. He's just trying to buy his time, just save his tires, and then pounce when James O'Brien might seem to be at his weakest. And so far they are about 0.2 of a second apart. We have Brandon Massey third, Daniel Wilborn fourth, Joni Pierce fifth, Ken Caruthers sixth, Zachary York seventh, Josh Mayu eighth, Steven Aguiar ninth, and Matthew Cisna rounding up the top 10 this far. And for the back in the pack, Matthew Cisna under fire from the 99 of Brandon Walter. Brandon Walter trying to sneak into the top 10, because now Cisna is holding the door and the key to the top 10. And Walter is trying to get a piece of that pie, the piece of the action. But off turn 4, he falls short. A lot of time will be lost, and Walter's gonna have to do it all over again and try to make it count again. And for the back in this pack, 94 of Stephen Harry, just having a Sunday drive so far and still doing the exact same thing, middle to high lane, saving tires for the long run. And a little bit up front, we have 61 of Josh Mayu. Josh Mayu as well has been changing his race groove, his race line with every single lap. So far, it's going middle to high lane as well, trying to save those tires against the 19 of Zachary York. They are now being shown about 2.5 seconds behind the race leader, James O'Brien. But they are still using each other's draft at the same time. And the 8 of Aguiar trying to poke his nose into the battle between the 19 of York and the 61 of Mayu. And a battle for third place up front, second place, scratch that. That is between Massey and Wilborn, but they end up going back single file. And yes, that was third place battle, as Dustin Hall is still very close to the rear end and the rear view of James O'Brien. And for the back in the pack, 8 of Steven Aguiar has found 5th gear, ladies and gentlemen. 5th gear, and now around the 19 of Zachary York. Steven Aguiar came from the 20th place spot, and now all the way up to 7th place, gaining a lot of spots this far, and he's not done just yet. It's not over until it's over for Steven Aguiar. Now his next victim being about 0.8 of a second ahead of him. That is 77 of Ken Caruthers.
The halfway point. 5 laps to go. And maybe 2.
Oh, indeed, yep, these drivers not in the clear just yet. And now everybody having a 15-lap run on their tires and tanks this time around. And with those pit stops, these drivers, ladies and gentlemen, this season there is no fuel limit. We had a fuel limit last couple of seasons, but not this season. They do have full tanks this time. And with that said, from experience, they should be pitting in, just a rough estimate, between laps number 25 through 35. Actually, no, scratch that, 30 through 40 should be the pit window, but they always seem to prove me wrong, but we're going to find out before too long. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we've lost 2 more drivers, Chris Perez and John LaBeouf. We look forward to seeing these drivers back again for next race. And further back in the pack, we have some side-by-side going on. Trying to catch these machines. That's 60 of Cotton Line and 22 of Matthew Cisna. They end up going back single file, and Cisna taps the apron. All speed and momentum lost. As 60 of Cotton Line is forced to back it down to avoid getting to the back of the rear end of Cisna, and that is gonna cost both of them a lot of time against the leaders up front. They are now being shown about 6.5 seconds behind the leader as Cotton Line gets around Matthew Cisna successfully. And 94 of Brandon, that Stephen Harry gets around 22 of Cisna as well. Oh man, but Harry gets a wrong entry to turn 3 and drifts up, forcing Cisna to back it down to avoid trouble, but no harm done. Still green flag racing. And going back up front, James O'Brien still doing his regular line where he stays all the way high. Oh man, but Dustin Hall gets a very good run against him off turn 2. They have different race lines going on, and yes, side by side they'll be this time around. But O'Brien should clear him again with a slingshot off turn 4. Yes, he does. It maintains the race lead on lap 7-2. Oh man, but Daniel Wilborn now trying to poke his nose into this battle between Dustin Hall and James O'Brien. At the moment, he's all over the rear view and the rear end of Dustin Hall, and Dustin Hall definitely feeling his presence this far. And ladies and gentlemen, the more these drivers run, when we come to the end of a fuel run, these machines end up getting very, very light, much lighter. With that said, we're going to be seeing a lot of sideways action going on. We noticed there during their second caution, I believe, second caution, we had Daniel Wilborn's rear end kick out of the exit of turn number 4. That was due to the fuel run, or him coming to the end of his fuel run, and that machine got very loose due to, oh no, bad netcode between James O'Brien and Dustin Hall, and James O'Brien is gonna go from first place to third place in one lap. That's very unfortunate. Oh man, James O'Brien is not a happy man as we speak, but he was able to keep that machine very, very clean. Just sustained just a little bit of damage on the left front, but not enough to do any, not enough to do any damage whatsoever to his performance here for the rest of the way. He should still be able to keep the Napa Auto Parts machine in check to the very end, but now being shown about 1.3 seconds behind the new race leader 37 of Dustin Hall. Actually, we just had another lead change. 10 of Daniel Wilborn gets around 37 of Dustin Hall. And Dave, what about the race report? Oh, looks like he's not available, but here we are, still green flag racing on lap number 76 now, with only a few more laps left, 54 laps remaining. And these drivers having 26 laps on their tires and tanks. So with that said, green flag, pit stops getting ever closer. So fingers crossed for that, ladies and gentlemen. And status check on the 8 of Stephen Aguiar. Last time we checked, he just moved up from to the 7th place spot, but now he's in 6th. But the caution flies on lap 77.
Gonna look here. Like the 22 was running on the outside of the 45 of Eddie Hawks. And it looks like that back end just might have kicked out. Oh, he hit the outside wall. That is going to be our 4th caution of the night.
Very unfortunate for the 22 of Matthew Cisna. Matthew Cisna, but and he also gets a lot of damage as a result of the contact with that wall. Oh man, but going back up front, Daniel Wilborn leading everybody down pit road this time around, and everybody follows. But these drivers pitting in with 53 laps left, we should expect to see at least one more pit stop for the race ends. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this gives us... oh, man, Dustin Hoss spins his tires off the exit of pit road. Actually kisses the wall with his left side. Oh, man, that could have been worse, but nice save by Dustin Hall. Not too much harm done, just a little bit of scratches on the left side of the machine, but this gives us time to get a race interview in. So let's focus on the 19 of Zach York. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are being joined up in the booth by the 19 of Zach York. Get up there, Zach.
Oh yeah, I got a copy.
How you doing tonight?
Pretty well. The car's been really tight throughout the race. Haven't really been able to fix that, only a little bit. And I've just been hanging around where I've been on the in the standings between 5th and 10th.
Oh, copy that, man. Yeah, we were sorry to hear about your misfortune there with the difficulty of handling in the machine, but despite that, you're still being able to stay in the top 10. Very, very commendable. And what went into getting ready for tonight's race, man? What did you have to do?
Just a lot of practice, changing the car up, just trying to get it how I want it to feel for the race. Like, a lot of the guys in the front like a loose race car. I like a decently tight race car, not completely loose, and my control more.
Oh, 10-4, man. Well, sounds like, you know, you have your machine set up there a little bit tight, and it seems to be doing quite well despite that. But, man, you've done so well so far in tonight's race. So should we expect to see you at least 5 spots higher on lap number 130?
Hopefully, yeah, that would be awesome to get my first win.
Oh, 10-4, brother. And, Zach, you have your brother in the chat, Patrick York. Any words for him?
Watch me. I don't know. I just thanks for watching. And wish me luck.
And his last message to you was, chase them down, Zach. Give them sauce, and you've done just that, buddy. So see you in victory lane in a few laps. Good luck to you.
All right, thank you.
And that was Zachary York, currently in the 6th place position. We are now back 1 to green. Yes, we are. Being led by Daniel Wilborn with the help of James O'Brien. On the outside line, being led by Dustin Hall with the help of 16 of Joni Pierce. Ladies and gentlemen, the Eddie Flora Memorial 130. That is the Eddie Flora Memorial 130. Round number 6 of the Precision Racing League American iRacing Sunday Series. And a new viewer there in the chat. That's PDJKC7. What up? What up, buddy? Hope you're doing well tonight. And welcome to Dre Broadcasting Network. And the Pace car is off and Wilborn does not hesitate. The green flag is out and great restart by Daniel Wilborn. And Dustin Horsway coming in time to maintain second place against James O'Brien, who now secures third place spot against Johnny Pierce. And Johnny Pierce, due to his damage that he's had for over half the race now, is struggling to get up to speed. But once the machine is up to speed, it does some serious damage. So right now he just falls back in line behind Brandon Massey as he tries to find that groove. We have Zach York, 77 of Ken Carruthers all over the rear view, the rear end of Zach York. And right now Carruthers going to the outside of York. Oh man, York goes sideways. I mean, it gets a little bit squirrely entering turn one, but no harm done. It is still straight, but Carruthers getting ever closer. And Carruthers to the outside line. York trying to defend that spot while trying to take advantage of the 16 of Johnny Pierce. No, Zach York taps the apron. No harm done, surprisingly. And Carruthers still high on the outside. Oh man, Zach York's machine is really tight. It does get up the track a little bit, and that forces Carruthers to back it down to avoid causing trouble. But now Carruthers is under fire from the 8 of Steven Aguiar. Aguiar gets around Carruthers successfully, and now his next victim, the 77 of actually the 19 of Zach York. And the 8 of Aguiar to the inside of 19 of Zachary York. They stay side by side, but off turn 4, slingshot engaged by Zachary York. At the same time, the 8 of Aguiar was able to maintain enough momentum to still stay side by side with him. Entering turns number 1 and 2, Aguiar gets around him successfully. Yes, he does. And York not enough to make it stick. And the 99 of Brandon Walter, his machine has seen better days. It does have a lot of damage. It's had this much damage for more than half the race now. But the draft and his heavy foot is doing quite well, making it keep up enough. And I mean, he's helping counter the damage. His next victim so far being the 77 of Ken Carruthers, who's on the inside of 19 of Zach York. Yep, side by side, York and Carruthers go, and Carruthers on the inside and York on the outside, and York gonna most likely get a good exit off turn number 2. Nope, he falls short and falls back in line behind Ken Carruthers, but up front we have a position change. Dustin Hall just lost a spot to the 11 of Brandon Massey off turn number 2, and now is under fire from the 8 of Aguiar and the 9 of James O'Brien. Oh man, the 8 of Aguiar has one of the fastest machines out there, if not the fastest machine out there. He's come a very long way and just keeps taking more and more names. And now his next victim, the 37 of Dustin Hall, has got around the 9 of James O'Brien. And seems like Steven Aguiar is hot lapping every single lap. Looks like Aguiar is now setting up the 37 of Dustin Hall, and Dustin Hall knows that Aguiar is a very, very big threat to him, and he's trying to hold his own. The 11 of Massey goes high on the exit of turn number 2 as Dustin Hall to the inside, at least trying to get to his inside, but so far not enough time to make it stick. Entering 3. And so far, the top 6 drivers are within a second of each other. That is Daniel Wilborn, Brandon Massey, Dustin Hall, Stephen Aguiar, James O'Brien, including Johnny Pierce, all within a second of each other. And speaking of Johnny Pierce now, Johnny all over the rear view of the 9 of James O'Brien.
Well, just with like 39 laps to go, probably within the next 9 to 15 laps, should be having some green flag pit stops. That should be the final pit stop of the night.
Yep, indeed. And these drivers now having 14 laps since their last pit stops. Every single one of them out there, at least actually most of them, because we have Dale Robertson on a different strategy. And we have one driver being shown 1 lap down. That is 22 of Matthew Cisna. And Cisna definitely in need of a caution so he can be able to get that lucky dog to be back on the lead lap. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with 38 laps left, gonna take another commercial break this time around. We'll be right back, so please stay tuned. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Eddie Flora Memorial 130. That's the Eddie Flora Memorial 130 round number 6 of the Precision Racing League American iRacing Sunday Series, brought to you by the PrecisionRacingLeague.com. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, registration is opening up soon. So this is round number 6. We have it's an 8-race regular season followed by a 4-race chase series. So once that's done, you guys can sign up, but you have to race your way in, ladies and gentlemen. Race your way in. They only take the best of the best and cap their fields at only 36 drivers maximum. That's 36 drivers maximum. So that's PrecisionRacingLeague.com if you think you have what it takes. And going back to the race here, we have a new leader, Dustin Hall. Dustin Hall in the race with Daniel Wilborn second, James O'Brien third, Zach York fourth. We have Brandon Walter 5th, Josh Mayu 6th, Cotton Lane 7th, David Dreckman 8th, Trevor White 9th, and Kyle Souza in the 10th place position. And ladies and gentlemen, the pit window is open, so these drivers should be pitting in here before too long. And yes, some drivers already pitted in, namely Brandon Massey, Ken Caruthers, Stephen Aguiar, including Stephen Harry, including Eddie Hawks and Johnny Pierce as well. These drivers all went down pit road for their final pit stops of the evening. So yep, the pit window is open. But up front, a battle for the race lead. Wilborn takes back the race lead away from Dustin Hall. And that bumps Dustin Hall back down to the second place spot. James O'Brien still third, but O'Brien being shown about 1.3 seconds behind the two drivers up front. So I'm not sure what happened to James O'Brien there while we're on the commercial. But it looks like he's lost a lot of time since then and is trying to play catch up. And the 19 of Zachary York here all the way out to the 4th place spot, about 4.6 seconds ahead of the 99 of Brandon Walter, and not too far back of the 9 of James O'Brien. And I meant to say 4.6 seconds behind Daniel Wilborn, the race leader up front. And further back in this pack, actually because of these green flag pit stops, so far only 11 drivers left on the lead lap, with everybody else at least 1 or more laps down, but that's going to cycle out before too long. And 00 of Kyle Souza, we talked about him there early on in tonight's race. He has had quite the race tonight. The machine has been beat up for pretty much the whole entire race, more than half the race. He's still currently in the 10th place spot, not too far behind the 21 of Trevor White. Looks like they do have about the same pace, the two drivers, as right now. Actually, Trevor White is now on being shown right behind him. Yeah, they are battling as we speak, single file, right behind each other.
Taking a look at rate. Actually,
oh, that have been a try-over, looks like.
there and see. Actually, I'm having mic issues. I do apologize. That's also going to involve the 11 of Brandon Massey. Him and the 99 get in together as the 99 got loose there off the turn. Both spinning out on the track for our 5th caution.
Oh man, yeah, that's very unfortunate for every single driver involved in that one. And that's at least that time we didn't have anybody on pit road. Actually, we only had one driver on pit road when the caution flew. That was the 3 of Dale Robertson. But this is gonna really shake things up when it comes down to pit strategy for most of the some of the drivers out there. But it's a good thing because majority of the field still needed to pit in. So they will be pitting in this time around, being led by Daniel Wilborn. We have Dustin Hall, James O'Brien, Zachary York, and Cotton Lane rounding up the top 5 as we speak, and having 32 laps on their tires and tanks going down pit road this time around. And one driver gets the waiver on the pace car. That is 77 of Ken Carruthers is back on the lead lap. He's one of the drivers who pitted in under green flag conditions and was really hoping to not have the caution after he pitted in like that. But he's now back on the lead lap, and everybody else behind the pace car. We have Steven Aguiar, Kyle Souza, Stephen Henry, we have Matthew Cisna, Eddie Hawks, Johnny Pierce. These drivers should be back on the lead lap once we go back one to green. And the race off pit road was won by Dustin Hall, actually by Daniel Wilborn. Dustin Hall came out second right behind him, James O'Brien third, Zachary York fourth, and Cotton Lane in the fifth place spot off pit road. And this does give us time to get a race interview in, ladies and gentlemen. Let's focus on the 8 of Steven Aguiar. Well, ladies and gentlemen, joined up in the booth we have the 8 of Steven Aguiar. Get up there, buddy.
Pretty good. How you guys been?
Oh, doing good too, thank you. And Steven, tonight you've brought your A++ game. We talked about early on there how you either have one of the fastest machines out there or have the fastest machine out there, because you've been taking names ever since the drop of the green flag past just right before the halfway mark. How's the race been so far?
The race has been excellent so far. It's just unfortunate that caution had to come out. I think it would have worked in my favor, but now I just got to take a waiver on.
Oh, 10-4, man. We're very, very sorry to hear about that. But yeah, despite that, man, you'll be able to get the wave around here before too long and start at almost the tail end of the field. But with the way the machine's been handling, man, how do you feel about lap 130?
The handling's great. I got this thing dialed in the pits. Had to make some adjustments, and so far, hopefully, we get a quick caution, and I can get 4 fresh tires and try to make another run up front, whatever time we have left.
Oh, 10-4, brother. Sounds like a plan. And you just got the wave around the pace car back on the lead lap. Steve, keep doing exactly what you're doing. You've come a very long way. You've done so much already. And see you again 12 spots higher on the pole.
10-4, guys.
That was the 8 of Steven Aguiar in the 13th place spot and back on the lead lap. In this lineup, we have Daniel Wilborn still in the race lead with the help of James O'Brien. On the outside, Dustin Hall with the help of the 19 of Zachary York. That pace car dips off. Oh man, James gives a lap tap to Daniel Wilborn. The green flag is out. And a commanding lead by Wilborn against Dustin Hall. James O'Brien, Zachary York, and Dustin Hall in second place spot. Zachary York now in the third place position. We have Cotton Lane in line behind James O'Brien. And with 60 of Cotton Lane's machine being damaged, he is having a little bit of difficulty getting up to speed. But once again, once they get up to speed, everything does seem to fall into place. But the 9 of James O'Brien side by side for third place with Zach York. And a new viewer in the chat, we have Paulo Lopez in the chat. Welcome to the Dre Broadcasting Network there, Paulo. Hope you're doing well. Ladies and gentlemen, now 16 laps left. Every single one of these drivers can make it the rest of the way when it comes to gas. So now the only thing to worry about or to focus on is staying alive, keeping the machine straight, and finishing tonight's race on lap number 130. We just got a chance to speak with the 8 of Steven Aguiar, one of the fastest machines out there. And he talked about how he's hoping for another caution, a quick caution, so he can be able to go up down pit road, get a fresh set of tires, because he's at a disadvantage, having more laps on his tires and tank compared to everybody else, specifically 8 laps more on his tires compared to everybody else who just pitted in during the last caution. He could not pit in because he pitted in under green flag conditions and had to get the wave around the pace car to be back on the lead lap. And we have Dale Robertson and Brandon Massey on pit road getting some damage fixed. And here on the track, 15 drivers on the lead lap. We have Matthew Cisna and David Dreckman. The first 2 drivers 1 lap down. They are racing hard for the lucky dog in a big cluster here as we speak. We have Matthew Cisna, Johnny Pierce. We have Rory Collins. We have Eddie Hawks and 94 of Stephen Harry. And Stephen Harry being challenged by the 45 of Eddie Hawks side by side for the 12th place position. But Harry has him off the exit of turn 2. And they'll stay single file between turns number 2 and 3. And Harry has sustained some right side damage from last time we last checked on him. Got a piece of the action there early on. While Eddie Hawks' machine is clean for the most part. Doing the Simtech Racing extra proud. But going back up front, some side by side between the 60 of Cotton Lane and the 19 of Zachary York. That is position number 4. As we see Lane to the inside, York on the outside. These drivers going at it. Lane taps the white line, no harm done. But 19 of York's lane shot engaged off the exit of turn 4. Is able to maintain the 4th place spot for now, but looks like the 77 of Ken Caruthers is trying to get a piece of the action as well. Ken Caruthers watching the battle between Cotton Lane and Zach York still, and so far is trying to decide which lane to go for, which lane to use. It's just about a matter of deciding, figuring out which driver is faster than the other. But so far, he just falls back in line as 60 of Lane is back on the inside of York and gets around successfully off the exit of 2.
8 laps to go. We got about 3 laps. And basically, like after that, that's going to end the race here. And he gets quickly. That's going to get up to his back bumper.
Yep, surprisingly, despite Daniel Wilborn's damage, he's still been able to do well, just regardless. That is very impressive. And Dustin Hall just trying to figure out the best way to set up Wilborn. He might try and play some mind games against him. That means that he'll try and, go left, right, just try and mess with him, hoping that he's watching his rear view. And without knowing it, Daniel Wilborn just might end up falling for it. Oh no, Dustin Hall gets too close to the wall. He smacks it, he gets sucked into it. Oh man, he goes from 2nd place to 3rd place in just 1 turn. All speed, all momentum lost, and 1 spot lost. He's getting back up. He is getting back up to speed as we speak. Oh dang, that's a game changer right there. Dustin has had one of the fastest machines out there as well here tonight. It's very sad to see that happen to him, but not to worry, we still have 5 laps left. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, the next flag ends the race. And it's not over until it's over. It's only over until the checkered flag flies. Until then, anything is still possible. But now the updated top 5. Daniel Wilborn still leading. James O'Brien second. Dustin Hall third. Cotton Lane fourth. And Ken Caruthers in the 5th place spot. And going all the way down to top 10, we have Zach York, Josh Mayu, Trevor White, Brandon Walter, and Stephen Aguiar rounding up the top 10 this far in tonight's race. And Stephen Aguiar here is now on the inside of 99 of Brandon Walter for the 9th place spot. We also have the 21 of Trevor White. He has been all over these drivers all race long tonight. He's had one of the fastest machines of... I noticed in the long runs, Trevor White was getting very, very tight. But he's still been able to keep that machine very, very clean regardless. Actually, it does not seem to have a single scratch on that Safe Light Auto Glass Toyota Camry, surprisingly. Very, very impressive. One of the few cleaner machines out there. But going back up front, Daniel Wilborn is now being shown about 3/10 of a second ahead of 2nd place driver James O'Brien with 2 laps left. Next flag is the white flag. I should say next lap, the white flag flies. And this is the white flag, ladies and gentlemen. The white flag is out on the racing surface. At this point, the gloves have been off. And the closest drivers battling, we have 99 of Brandon Walter. We have the 8 of Aguiar, 21 of Trevor White. Walter goes back down to the 10th place spot. Actually, he's boxed in. No, Walter goes sideways off turn 4. Oh, nice save. He did not take out anybody. Aguiar comes out in the 8th place, actually 9th place spot. Walter, 10th place spot. Trevor White, the 8th place position. That's 8th through 10th, respectively. But up front, Wilborn brings this thing home. James O'Brien, 2nd. And Dustin Hall in the 3rd place position. Very, very impressive. Heck of a race here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And we have some interviews coming up. Daniel Wilborn, James O'Brien, and Dustin Hall. So please stay tuned and hopefully a smoke show by the 10 of Wilborn. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are being joined up in the Dre Broadcasting booth by the top 3 drivers, Daniel Wilborn, James O'Brien, and Dustin Hall. Gonna mix it up here. We are watching the big burnout by the winner tonight, 10 of Daniel Wilborn. So please, keep smoking it. And a big loud boom from the rear end of Wilborn. Gonna mix it up and start with the 3rd place driver, 37 of Dustin Hall, Simtech Racing driver. Got a cop there, Dustin?
Yeah, Sean, I got you, bud.
How you doing tonight?
Hey, not too bad.
Well, buddy, tonight you brought your A++ game. and you were one of the fastest machines out there. You stayed behind James O'Brien for a very long time there during one of the multiple, actually a lot of green flag runs out there. But how's your race tonight?
Yeah, pretty good. I think you gave me too much credit. I think it was more of an A-. I think I got a demerit for catching the wall, passing for the lead there, or at least battling with Daniel. That guy's just so good. He doesn't make mistakes. But no, good night, man.
Oh man, indeed. No, Dustin, you did an amazing job tonight, and that does not go unnoticed. And what was your strategy coming into tonight's race? Basically, what contributed to your success and you having such a fast machine?
Yeah, we got a lot of practice in this week. Worked with Johnny, Simtech, and the boys, and we got it running really good. Cautions came out at a real timely time for me. Because I just can't wheel one of these things after they go loose. They just get really loose on a long run, and I just can't wheel it like some of these other guys can. And so those cautions really played into it for me. Overall, just a good night.
Oh, indeed, man. Congrats on your success here tonight, despite the sudden turn of events towards the very end there with less than 5 laps to go. Well, buddy, before you go in final words, before you go celebrate.
Yeah, I just want to shout out to Johnny again, man. He worked his tail off. Didn't get the finish he hoped for. Keep your head up, buddy. The rest of the Simtech guys, you guys too. Tough luck tonight. Thank you guys for the broadcast and PRL for putting the show on.
Well, congrats, brother, and see you again next race. Go celebrate.
Thank you, sir.
That was the Simtech Racing driver 37 of Dustin Hall. But next in line is second place driver, last week's winner for his second win, James O'Brien with the Road Trip Racing team. Got a cup there, James?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Pretty tired after that. That was a lot of strenuous activity, I should say. Car is really loose everywhere. It's just a handful.
Oh man, I could imagine, and it seemed like you had one of the most balanced machines out there, but I guess looks can be deceiving. And tonight, man, you were able to set yourself up for the long run. Give us a rundown of your high line experience, because it seemed like you're one of the few drivers trying to save tires.
Actually, I noticed late in the last practice that when the track rubbered up, the higher line, for me at least, was a lot easier to run. The tire saving too. I don't know if you watched my other races, but no matter where I go, I usually race higher up anyways. I like being near the wall. Car started off good. I wanted it to be better, but I was surprised at how well it handled. It was really balanced at the beginning, and then as the track rubbered in, and when Dustin and we touched a little bit coming off 4, and I got a hair of damage. I didn't get much, but after that, the car's balance was just thrown off. It didn't handle the same after that, and I tried to adjust it, and it would be great for a short run, but when I was trying to catch Daniel near the end, it was just so tight in the middle, and then it would snap loose, so I just pretty much gave it. I was like, all right, I got nothing. This is it. I'm just going to settle in for second.
Oh, most definitely, man, but still an amazing show on your part here tonight, as usual, after winning last week's race at Bristol and coming out in second place spot this week, but then first place spot again next week. Well, buddy, before you go, celebrate any final words.
Thank you guys for broadcasting, and my team for making the sets like we do every week. David and Brandon for testing, and it could have been probably a little more eventful out there, but Paul had to watch from the sidelines, so that may have been a good or bad thing, I don't know, but miss having him out there on the track. And congratulations to Daniel for winning. I guess I'll see you guys next week for the All-Star race.
Well, congrats once again, James, and see you absolutely next week, and go celebrate.
Thanks, man. Have a good night.
And that was Road Trip Racing driver and also points leader. But next in line is one of the biggest, I should say, fastest drivers, one of the aliens, Daniel Wilborn. Got a copy there, Daniel?
Yeah, I got a copy.
How you doing tonight?
Doing good.
Well, buddy, having your second win right here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Very, very impressive. You did not seem to have the qualifying time that you wanted. You did start in the 18th place spot and had some bad luck there mid-race. Give us a rundown of the events that went on tonight.
Yeah, I really messed qualifying up. I should have took my first time. I would have hit like a 29.9 something. I would have qualified up front, but I kind of wanted to be greedy and try to run a 28.8. But then once I started coming through the pack, that first caution, I probably could have went up high to avoid direct, but I felt like I probably would have got rear-ended or something. So I spun it down low just to try to avoid everybody. Then after that caution, the car felt good. Then all of a sudden it just later in that run it just slid off 4, and I tried to save it, but I ended up getting rear-ended, so I lost a whole lot of straightaway speed. But after 15-20 laps, it just came to life.
Oh, and Daniel, speaking of the sideways action, the sudden kick out of your rear end of the exit of turn 4 at that one point you're talking about where you got rear-ended. How basically what was going through your mind when you kind of thought that your machine was going through some suffering?
I mean, I knew it had damage, but I felt like the car and the setup was still fast enough to get up there. But I knew I couldn't stay with anyone basically for the first 10 laps, especially on fresh tires. I just didn't have the straightaway speed, but the crew chief Chris helped me out a lot with them changes, and that junk was rolling.
Oh, indeed it was, man. You started in the 18th place spot, found your way back in the pack again, and back up front with a damaged machine. Very, very impressive. Having your second win right here, Charlotte Motor Speedway. And how are you feeling about the All-Star race?
I feel really good about the All-Star race.
Yep, same exact track, night time as well, so double the practice, and it's gonna pay off. We look forward to seeing you winning that race as well, and congrats once again tonight. And any final notes before you go?
Yeah, I like to thank Chris for the setup, and Alan putting in practice laps and practicing with Colton, and just doing plenty of practice laps to get ready for over here and for the All-Star race. And I'd like to thank y'all for doing the broadcast, and also James and Dustin for racing clean.
Well, congrats on the success here despite the bad luck and the trials you went through all race long doing the Overclock Motorsports team. Extra proud. Well, buddy, go celebrate and see you again next week.
Alright, thank you.
And that was Daniel Wilborn. Well, let's call him one of the aliens here with the PRL Precision Racing League American iRacing Sunday Series. Hope you guys enjoyed the show here tonight. The Eddie Flora Memorial 130. That's the Eddie Flora Memorial 130, round number 6 of the Precision Racing League American iRacing Sunday Series. Just got some intel. We're not broadcasting the All-Star race next week, but the next race with the PRL is going to be after next week. Race number 7 at Iowa Speedway, and the date for that is going to be, gotta check this out, that's going to be February 4th. That's February 4th is Iowa Speedway. Race number 7 before the final race, or before the chase. So that's going to be round 8, Texas Motor Speedway, then round 7, Iowa on February 4th. I am Sean Zulu and David Everly behind the cameras. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in here tonight as usual. And check out the Precision Racing League at precisionracingleague.com to be a part of the action. Well, the next broadcast is going to be tomorrow night, ExtremeMotorsports99.com KNN series. So be sure to be there as well. I am Sean Zulu and David Everly behind the cameras once again. Have a good night. Thanks for watching. See you next race.